Jeremiah was one of the major prophets of the Old Testament. He ministered in the kingdom of Judah during a turbulent period leading up to the destruction of Jerusalem by Babylon in 586 BC. Jeremiah was called by God while he was still young. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Jeremiah 1 verse 5. What was Jeremiah's mission? God sent Jeremiah to warn Judah that persistent idolatry, injustice, and rebellion against God would bring judgment. He repeatedly called the people to repent, but most refused to listen. Because his messages were unpopular, Jeremiah faced rejection by his own people, imprisonment, beatings, threats on his life, public ridicule. For this reason, he is often called the weeping prophet, because he deeply grieved over Judah's sin and the coming destruction. Key events in Jeremiah's life were that God called him to be a prophet in Jeremiah chapter 1. He warned kings, priests, and the nation of Judah. He used symbolic actions and object lessons to communicate God's messages. His prophecies were recorded by his scribe Baruch. He witnessed the Babylonian siege and destruction of Jerusalem. After Jerusalem fell, he remained with the survivors and was later taken to Egypt. One of Jeremiah's most significant prophecies was the promise of a new covenant. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. Jeremiah 31:33. Jeremiah's prophecy of the new covenant finds its fulfillment in Jesus Christ, whose sacrificial death and victorious resurrection established a covenant of grace in which God's law is written on the hearts of his people, and their sins are remembered no more. This promise points to the transforming work of God in the lives of believers, bringing forgiveness, reconciliation, and restored relationship with him. Books associated with Jeremiah are the Book of Jeremiah and the Book of Lamentations. Jeremiah's life demonstrates extraordinary faithfulness in difficult circumstances. Though rejected, mocked, imprisoned, and often left standing alone, he remained obedient to God's call. His ministry reminds believers that faithfulness to God is not measured by popularity or visible success, but by steadfast obedience. Through his warnings of judgment and his message of hope, Jeremiah points ultimately to God's mercy, redemption, and the coming of Jesus Christ, through whom the promised new covenant is fulfilled.